Ready, set, go.
Hello! Welcome back to another album reaction, or welcome if this is your first time here. Great to have you. Today we're listening to a new album by someone that I've been kind of quietly following over the last number of years. Mainly quiet because he doesn't release things very often under his own name. We're listening to the album Father Figure by Mr. Jon Bellion. Jon Bellion is a fascinating artist. He is a white man in a hip-hop world. He's a squirrely little guy. He does have the tendency to make some interesting creative and musical choices. I was a really big fan of his Human Condition album when it came out. Looking back, it hasn't aged perfectly, but there's still some interesting things that he does in that album, and I would say the same about his second album, Glory Sound Prep, which was a weird sort of like concept album kind of deal. Now he's got another one. He doesn't make a whole lot of music under his own name because he's been very busy lately as a producer. He's now under his own label and has brought other people under that label as well, and has been doing a lot of work for them lately. So I was a little surprised that he just popped out this new album. I guess he's been working on stuff in between working with other artists and bands, which is great. Happy for him. I'm assuming by the album title, we're going to be talking about fatherhood and the fact that Jon Bellion is, or at least has been, a father. Maybe not a terribly recent father. I don't know how old his kids are because I'm not creepy like that. I don't usually need to know the ages of the children of the artists that I follow. But maybe at a certain point we may learn the age of his kids and how that plays into the stage of fatherhood he's in. Maybe we'll get to learn what kind of father figure Jon wants to be, what kind of father figure he has been, things like that. Which is a subject that we haven't really been able to talk about much on this channel. You know, the music that we've been listening to has covered a wide range of topics, but hasn't really landed on fatherhood. So I'm excited to get into that conversation as someone that is not a father, but I have learned that I do in fact give off what you might call early onset dad vibes. With that accounted for, I'm quite excited to see what Jon's been putting together. Papa Jon. We've got 14 tracks, total of 49 minutes. There's about one interlude track, so it's 14 tracks, 13 songs, you might say. We are going to talk about what Jon has to say about this album. One thing he said on his own website says, it actually wasn't very challenging to make this as high taste as I was trying to make it, because it's just where I'm at in my life. There's honesty there. I'm not trying to prove how much of a dad I am. I'm just trying to open up the conversation around how tough it is to fit yourself into a father figure in today's day and age. I don't think we have a lot of North Stars right now, which is an interesting point. We'll get into that. He's dedicated a few things to his family. He said to his wife, "I want to thank you for encouraging me to come back. Thank you for letting me give this my all and holding it down with the boys. Just like Horoscope says, the second you need me in any way, I'm right back home. No questions asked, would trade this all back in for you. You were with me through it all, and even when I convinced myself I was never going to be an artist again, you supported me. The second I even started floating ideas of coming back, the way you lit up showed me how your heart broke silently for me not putting my personal music out over the years. You respectfully watched my fire slowly build again. When you said to me, it's time for you to step back in, that put the battery in my back. You really are the reason for all this. If anyone enjoys this album, they should be thanking you. So thank you, Jon Bellion's wife. I really wish I knew your name so that I didn't have to refer to you as Jon Bellion's wife. But for now, that's all I got. Thank you, ma'am. To Jon's boys. There's not a single thing in this world I wouldn't do for you. This album is for you, and I want you to know that your father went for it. Despite his fears and risking looking silly, your dad went for it. Never ever compromise who you are out of fear, and I will spend the rest of my life living that out for you to see what a form of that could look like. I am nothing close to perfect, and you don't need to be either. I will be here and for you no matter what. And when you're old enough, I hope you feel my desperate and overwhelming love for you through this music. Thanks for being the only useful A&Rs left in the spinning world. I don't know what that last sentence mean. If you could decode that for me in the comments, I would appreciate that. Not sure what A&Rs refers to. With that all said, let's start with the first track. We've got a number of crazy cameo appearances on this album. Including but not limited to the first track, Horoscope, featuring Mr. Pharrell Williams, the Mountie Hat Man himself. Let's check out Horoscope. All right. Starting out with some piano. Sounds good to me. Okay. Nice. Okay. Okay. Read you like a horoscope. Okay. And I'll come back home. He does have a really nice singing voice. I like Jon Bellion's voice. It's very clear. It's an ice cold kind of voice. It's got a refreshing feel to it. Not necessarily refreshing like philosophically, but just like it's a nice texture. It's a nice sound feel. Read you like a horoscope. Reminds me a little bit of Tyler Joseph. Especially with lines like that. Ooh. Alright, heavy bass synth. Cool. Very cool. Okay. We got a little bit of the voice modulation there. Oh, hello. Okay. Are we bringing in a beat at any point here? Alright. Oh, there's Pharrell. Okay. Alright. Okay. What's with the glitchy sounds there? Alright. Whoop. There's... Okay.
Your fingers tapping. We don't need a telephone because we're telepathic.
Okay, Pharrell.
It's a superpower and we both have it. Don't gotta read your manual, it's automatic.
Nice.
Gonna find you every lifetime, this is a pattern. Planets in the same house, we are each other's magnet. For you and me, so many things that I wanna master. But happily I drop it all because it doesn't matter. Na, 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 na.
It feels a little bit like they're building something, especially considering we've really only had like... It kind of feels like we've only had like 2 melodies established through this whole song, and we've only got a minute left. Yep, I feel like we're kind of holding back to start off the album. We're not jumping in with a bang we're kind of like laying the setting a bit, setting the scene, as you will. We're not jumping right in to the big moments, and I know that Jon Bellion is capable of crafting some pretty big moments, and I'm looking forward to it. But for now, we can just kind of ride this very steady build that it seems like he's making. Okay. Alright. Oh!
Your father said be protected, she's a daughter. And Jesus co-signed when I took you to the altar. Now come back home. 6 years, those tears, so you bleed for me.
Okay.
Fuck the world if you reach for me. Now come back home.
Cool. Alright. Neat. Neato. Very nice. A promising start. We got some good beginning ingredients in there. Pretty clear sentiment. Starting things right off of Jon basically being like, I'm getting myself back into music. Apparently he's been on a hiatus. He had kind of pulled the Bo Burnham thing of telling himself that he was done putting out his own personal stuff. And then over the course of time, maybe got his mojo back, got a little bit extra, a little bit new inspiration, and then via encouragement from his wife and perhaps others, he's embarking on this project. But the whole time, as he's expressing at the top of this album, if at any point he needs to deprioritize music to be with his family, he's like, I'm there. It's not even a question. I am right there with you. And it's interesting that he uses the simile of horoscope being like a tool of both like fortune telling a little bit, but also just like present advice, like an indicator of things that you don't necessarily know about. This is kind of how I understand horoscopes. Kind of reading the vibes. If he's reading the vibes and it seems clear that he ought to be spending time with his family, he's there. He makes it very clear that he is a father first and a musician second, but he is giving himself time to be a musician, which is nice. So we're starting off finding that balance. So we've got the main chorus, which is, if you need me now, I'll come thrash the room, I'll black out for you. If you need me now, if you need to fall, you don't have anything, don't have to say anything at all. I'll come thrash the room, I'll black out for you. He's being very self-sacrificial, a little bit like, there's a little bit of like self-destructive language being used there, which I'm not sure how I feel about. But he's basically just like, if I get the sense that I need to go back home, I am bursting through the door in order to be there. I will trash whatever room he's in. He'll black out just to get there as fast as he can, if they need to like fall back on his support. With the post-chorus being, read you like a horoscope and I'll come back home. If he's getting even the slightest indication that he's needed back at home, he's there. I think the only other area to kind of cover is the bit with where Pharrell comes in more presently, where it goes, I can feel when you're alone and your fingers tapping. We don't need a telephone because we're telepathic. Yes, it's a superpower and we both have it. Don't gotta read your manual, it's automatic. Gonna find you in every lifetime, this is our pattern. Planets in the same house, we are each other's magnet. For you and me, so many things that I want to master, but happily I drop it all because it doesn't matter. Yeah, it feels like, because Jon Bellion is coming off of this phase of not, like, he wasn't expecting to make another album. I get that, like, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. He wasn't expecting to get back in the game. And so his energy going into making this album feels a little hesitant. Like he kind of almost wants to be given an excuse to not work on this album, which is fair and valid. Like, I get it. Like, anyone making that unexpected transition back into making music for yourself after a long time of not doing so, there's gonna be that inertia, that resistance, that sort of draw back to just being at home with your family. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would say that, like, hopefully if you're making a whole album as the person listening to the album and not watching him as a dad, I hope that there is enough presence and intention in this album to make it worth its own time. Like, if you're taking time away from your family a little bit to make an album, the album better be worth the frickin' time, you know? What I want to say is I hope he's not half-assing this album. If you're going to half-ass this album, just spend time with your family. I'm not saying that spending time with your family is a lesser thing. It's just that both are big time commitments. And so if you're going to be trying to balance those things, you got to put in the effort to balance those things properly so that you can do both well. And I hope that is reflected in the rest of this album. Specifically for this song, Jon said, "This is a thank you to my wife and a softness for my boys while they sleep. A certain type of grand quietness. I love how it's 'fuck the world if you reach for me' is the last thing you hear before the titular track. This was always to me the calm before war that I consider father figure." Okay, interesting. Makes me excited for father figure. Like the cars outside and you say goodbye to the fam before a huge work trip. Horoscope is like a smooch on the forehead at 3 a.m. Lol. Once that driver door closes at 3 a.m., you're on your way. Those ominous vocals pop up in the FF intro. All right, spoilers. Spoilers, I want to know about these ominous vocals. Let's get right to father figure. We have had the introduction, the nice late night goodbye before you head out of town. Let's get in the car and let's hear father figure. Oh, those are ominous. I like that. That's cool.
Gotta do that shit, however.
Oh, all right, here we are.
Lord.
Dude, okay.
Father figure, known to protect, I do that shit, however.
Okay.
Lord.
All right.
I am no saint, it's true.
Gee.
But I'll be okay from after marriage you.
Okay.
These boys will make it through.
All right.
I'll follow after you.
Okay. Oh, hello, piano. Got that gospel piano in there. I love those. All right. I like keeping that weird vocal part in there. All right. Whoa. Lord.
You look so sick inside your.
Okay.
Bigger, known to protect, I do that shit, however.
Right.
I am no saint.
Okay.
I am no saint, it's true. I'll follow after you.
Okay. Woo.
True.
That piano comes in so strong. Jeez. All right.
Down every lonely road and broken avenue. Oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you. And your moms too.
Moms? Plural.
I swear we'll fall.
Fair enough. I'm not gonna judge.
All these horses, but where your carriage at?
Okay.
All these crosses, but where your marriage at?
Whoa.
For the letter.
Lettuce. Iceberg.
Forward to the cabbage patch.
Okay.
In my REM sleep, I see demons.
All right.
And they tell me, congratulations.
Right.
Standing ovation, you built your coffin.
Whoa.
And that shit looks just like a.
Ooh. Getting dreamy. Damn. Damn. Okay, we're saying some things.
Father figure, known to protect, I do that shit, however.
Okay.
I am no saint, it's true. If I follow after you, if I follow after you, if I follow after you.
Interesting. There's a lot going on here. He's doing a lot of repetitive, like he's repeating a lot of parts, but it's because there's layers to this. Let's see what Jon has to say about this, because there's a lot going on. This one wakes up the listener, like the top of the ski lift shit. Nice, I like. Okay, yeah. The song is 3 parts essentially. 1, thanking my father. Thanks for everything. I'll follow after your example. Making a promise to my boys. I will follow after you and take care of you. And then in pops up the demonic self-talk. The same voice. It says, I shouldn't even come back as an artist. Big Ferrari is a metaphor for being trapped in the addiction to accomplishment, or ambition. It's a one-word expression of it. It doesn't truly become clear until the second verse. First verse, I noticed people listening sort of confused at it, but when that payoff hits in the second verse about it being a coffin, it's wild to see people's reactions. I also love the big old Coldplay spirit on the hook. These boys will make it through is so Martin, ha ha ha. This pops up as my favorite quite often. Right, so he's had these like forums going where he's talking about his process. He's apparently been advertising this album through like email chains and forums, which I think is very interesting, creating a very like intimate, like internal space where people can kind of follow him as he's releasing his thoughts. A lot of thoughts there. Not quite what I was reading into when I first was reading these lyrics, but now that he kind of lines that out, it does make a lot of sense. You know, when you're saying in intro, he says, I do that shit, however, Lord, father figure, known to protect, I do that shit, however. Because of the person I am, I hear a Lord and then father figure, and I think he's talking to God. I think he's trying to he's following, the Christian God example of fatherhood, which can mean a lot of different things, which we might also get into later on. The chorus, starting with I am no saint, like we're kind of keeping that religious imagery going. So that's kind of what tipped me off to like maybe he's including God in this conversation, which I have always kind of known. He's made it very clear that he's a Christian artist, but I guess that's not necessarily explicitly what he's going for here. The chorus being, I am no saint, it's true, but I'll be okay if I'm half the man as you. These boys will make it through, I'll follow after you. True. So what you want to do, down every lonely road and broken avenue, oh yeah, I got you, and your mom's too, I swear I will follow after you. So this first bit, I guess, is him trying to emulate his own dad. And then when we get into the second bit, Big Ferrari, you look so sick inside your big Ferrari, you left your kids outside to hit the party, you look so sick inside your, sick father figure known to protect, I do that shit, however. So I guess he's now becoming a little bit, he's got that self-critical voice in his head of like, oh, you left your family so that you could go and make the music for yourself that you said you were never going to do again, right? You just couldn't resist the call to action to make more stuff for yourself and make your career bigger. Which, it makes sense that he would have that sort of, or not, feeling guilty, feeling a sense of guilt, perhaps. I've been told often that guilt is not a feeling, it's a judgment. Like you're judging yourself as guilty of something. And so I guess in this case, Jon is judging himself as guilty of leaving his family for his own career, which I don't think is fair to him. And I think he knows that it's not fair to him, but it makes sense that he's expressing that conflict within himself of like, is this really what I've done? Did I really just leave my family to just work on my own shit? I think that's something that will probably keep working out through this album. It seems like something that's going to be pretty present over the course of this whole project, which I'm looking forward to see how that knot gets untied, or if it does. We got the verse, which is all these horses, but where your carriage at? All these crosses, but where your marriage at? For the lettuce, which I do know lettuce referring to money. I'm aware of that. You took a flamethrower to the cabbage patch. In my REM sleep, I see demons, and they tell me congratulations, standing ovations. You built a coffin, and that shit looks just like a big Ferrari. So all the horses and crosses, where's your carriage or your marriage at? He's like, I'm getting all these, finding all these accolades, doing all this stuff with my career, but where's your car? Like, where are you going? And where's your family? You're doing this stuff for the money. You took a flamethrower to the Cabbage Patch. I'm assuming Cabbage Patch a reference to Cabbage Patch Kids. Like, you're basically just saying fuck it to the family, fuck it to the kids, and which then comes up when you're not able to sleep and you're having nightmares or being kept up over your sense of guilt. And then you get people being like, congrats for getting back into the game, or congrats for your career, your music production career. You've built this coffin for yourself and it looks like a big Ferrari. You've built this like end for yourself, this way to really dig yourself into a hole, and it looks like success. Seems to be kind of what he's working through here. You look so sick inside your big Ferrari. Gave up your children just to be somebody. You look so sick inside and continues with the do that shit. However, which he didn't give up anything as far as I'm aware. Like, I don't know, I haven't talked to his kids, I haven't talked to his wife. Maybe there was some conflict there. I would have a hard time believing it if he's also expressed his hesitation of getting back in the game in the first place. Like, if he's that hesitant to leave his family to work on this, it means that either this song is a little dishonest, or it means that Horoscope is a bit dishonest. I think he knows that he's not giving up his children just to be somebody, but maybe that's the rawest expression of what he feels, which is fair. But I'm glad that we're kind of getting all that out at the front of the album, because I want to know what his experience has been like just as dad. I don't know if that was what this album has been about. I really hope this album isn't just about, oh man, I'm a dad, but I'm also a wildly successful musician. Boo-hoo for me. I don't want this whole album to be that. And I really hope that that's not all it chalks up to be. I don't think it will be that. That doesn't seem like enough to fill, 14 tracks, 13 and a half. But I guess we'll find out as we move on into track number 3, Oblivious. Oh, we got some strings. All right. Alright. Nice. Getting a little splashy there. Got the auto-tune on again. The voice modulation, I should say. Okay. Woo. Oh, that is nice. This feels very Coldplay-ish, which generally I'm not much of a Coldplay guy, but this does give me the feel of certain Coldplay songs that I am a fan of. This feels like good Coldplay, which is not a compliment that I give very often.
If love is a lie, I'm oblivious.
Cool. I like that line. Okay.
I'm oblivious. In a sky.
Nice. Cool. This also reminds me of, and this is going to be a very specific vibe for a certain sect of my audience to get. This feels like a Switchfoot song. Specifically, it sounds like the song "The Beautiful Letdown." Very, very similar to that song, "The Beautiful Letdown" by Switchfoot. Switchfoot has done a cover of a Jon Bellion song. I don't know how closely they've worked together, if at all, but that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And it's kind of nice, you know? You don't hear this sound very often anymore. That the song that I'm referencing came out in I think 2008. You don't get a lot of 2008 vibes nowadays. I will say, not the biggest fan of the AAA. You know? Like Rihanna's got that. Rihanna's got the AAAs on lock. She was the one that really made that iconic. But anyone else doing it, it just kind of comes out a little dry. I'm always a big fan of doing things on the offbeat. Usually, I like that kind of weird, syncopated stuff. But if it's not, I'm also the kind of person that instead of just saying oh, 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 or a, write some lyrics. Just write more lyrics. Write more words. Write more real words. We can handle it. We can handle a few more words if you know how to fit into the meter. And I believe in Jon Bellion's ability to write more words that can fit into the meter. Just write more real words. That's my first criticism. I don't know how many I'm gonna have, but that's my first one. Okay, the back and forth one. That kind of sounds cool. That feels alright. Alright. Okay, alright, Jon. Oh, he's going for it. Nice, I like that break at the end. Alright, we got some na-na-nas in the background. That's fine. That's cool. Nice. Ooh, little piano solo. This is very Coldplay. This is some Viva La Vida shit right here. Ah, I like it. Nice. Ooh. That's cool. You gotta take the opportunity to sing the word high on a high note. Otherwise, what are you doing? That ride is really washed out. Almost bit crushed. Nice. A long outro. now it's just a piano in a room with some people shuffling around. I like it when it becomes a piano in a room. Are we gonna resolve it? Oh, we don't resolve it, you son of a bitch! Oh, you little scamp. Decides not to resolve that melody. Oh boy, sneaky little guy. Alright, fair enough. I like that. That was a vibe. I had my criticisms about the A's and the O's. I liked when they had the alternating A on both beats. That worked out okay. I still would say you can just write some real words. But nitpicking at this point. I was driving to a college basketball game with my dad and it was raining. At a red light near the crib, me and my dad saw this guy just like dropping to his knees in the rain with both hands in the air, worshiping. The weird part was, he looked like a well put together guy. Like a regular businessman that seemingly had like a mental break, or maybe a realization. A few days later, I was in a session with the crew and this whole top line sort of poured out of me. Felt like it was the soundtrack to this guy's mental break or realization. Like a giant song about giving into the idea of the spiritual, faith, all the hocus pocus terms. The song is an Oasis-coded wall of sound about giving into the concept of love, choosing to believe that it exists and is a real thing. Okay, Oasis-coded is what I was going for. Alright, I haven't listened to enough Oasis, and don't plan to understand the similarities there. I'm gonna stick to my guns. Sounds like The Beautiful Letdown by Switchfoot, which might have also been an Oasis-coded wall of sound inspiration. And it also tracks that this was sort of meant as the soundtrack to someone just like on their knees in the rain. It very much has that kind of vibe of like massive, beautiful epiphany kind of music. Verse 1 is Who Do You Love? And then Say I'm the One. And then the chorus, this was a strong chorus. I really liked the melody of this. In a sky full of red, you're my light. You're as high as it gets. Take my pride, shoot it dead. I'm alive. If love is a lie, I'm oblivious. I love that last line. And I know that he's pulling in some religious and spiritual elements into, you know, like God as love kind of deal. And I've got my own complicated feelings on that. But the sentence, if love is a lie, I'm oblivious. I like that sentiment. I like it. The idea of like, there's a lot of cynicism and pessimism and jadedness in the zeitgeist at the moment, and for good reason. There's a lot to be cynical and pessimistic and jaded by. There's a lot of shit going on in the world to look at and get overwhelmed and then just let that make you calloused. And maybe to a lot of people that feels like the truest revelation, you know, that's the sort of like we live in a society kind of like black pill realization. And I think it leads to a very unhappy life, and it also leads to a mindset that does not contribute to making the world better. I think if you want things to improve, you have to be in a mindset that believes that things can improve and that the world is worth improving, and that inherently means possessing some amount of love in your heart, so to speak. You're gonna get a lot of the people that are jaded and pessimistic and cynical, telling you that you're wasting your breath, that the people that you are working against are not worth saving or not worth talking to, and you're gonna notice that those people are not also making the world much better. So you might as well make the effort, futile as it may be. Hence the if love is a lie, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna have it anyway. I'm not usually one for taking the side of ignorance, but if it means ignoring the existence of love, all for it. And that's pretty much it. They basically switch between the chorus, the who do you love, the say I'm the one, and the I am oblivious throughout the song, which is fine. You know, if your instrumentals are interesting enough, which in this case they were, you don't need to write, 4 or 5 extremely intricate verses. If you're Sleep Token, maybe you do that anyway. But this isn't a Sleep Token video. This is a Jon Bellion video, and Jon's doing just fine. We're gonna keep moving to track number 5, titled "Why?", featuring country boy himself, Mr. Luke Combs. I don't know if this is gonna have a country vibe to it. I have the capacity to sometimes enjoy certain types of country music, and we're gonna find out if this song has those vibes. Acoustic. Ooh, that's nice. I like that.
I'm scared to meet you.
Okay, nice and yeah. I like a little waltz.
I might fall in love.
All right.
And once I'm in love, then my heart is wide open.
Got some worship music vibes.
For you to walk in, drop the bomb, blow it up. So I love anything, anything,
Interesting.
anything at all.
Right. I'll follow up on the previous track. Ooh.
Anything at all.
I like the growl that he puts in there. Just very slight.
The fly, is the further I fall. Then why love anything at all? Stressed and strung out about things that could happen.
Hello, Luke. Welcome.
And I can move mountains with the worry I've done.
Okay.
So I called my father and he started laughing.
Okay. I don't listen to a lot of Luke Combs. I don't listen to a lot of modern country in general, specifically sort of on the country pop side is not really a genre that I find myself in the space of very often. But I do think that the ingredients of country, specifically the roots of country, I enjoy quite a bit. I like folk music. I like blues. And I think country music that manages to maintain those elements, those originating factors, is stuff that I can enjoy quite a bit. I think country music is a genre that dies in production. I think the best country music is the stuff that is particularly rough around the edges. If you're cleaning up your country vocals and you're cleaning up the sliding of your hand on the guitar, you're cleaning up the weird jangly chords, that's when you're killing the country music. Is my take on the genre. Is not entirely not what we're hearing. This is definitely a clean country sound, and I would encourage Luke Combs to dirty things up a bit, perhaps, in his own music. Again, haven't listened to him enough. Maybe he already does that. Couldn't tell you. But those are my thoughts on country music while we're listening to a song featuring one of country's current more prominent artists.
You said you think it's bad now until you have a son. So I love anything.
He's got some grit to him, which I like.
Anything at all.
That's good. Yeah, I like that. Alright, we got
Anything at all.
Ooh, nice, hitting that hard.
If the higher I fly, is the further I fall.
like the marching snare. That's a nice... It's a slow march, too. Okay. Oh, was that an ambulance in the back there? That's concerning. Okay, I did have one other criticism. The bridge. Wasn't much of a bridge. It's... If the bridge is a nice moment to like recontextualize the points you've been presenting in the song thus far, and if your bridge ends up just becoming an extension between two choruses, just using the same vocal line over and over. First off, that was very, very repetitive and not repeating one of the more interesting parts of the instrumental. It feels like a first idea, but not the best idea. Maybe not the one that they should have landed on. I feel like you could find something beyond just alternating "Why Love." I understand that, like, within the sentiment of the song, having this moment of like just over and over asking the question makes sense. Like, you're sort of intensifying the weight of that question. But at no point have we provided any kind of answer. Like, I feel like the bridge could have been where we provide an answer. But if we're not doing that, then it seems like the question of why love anything at all, like, I feel like there should be an answer for that. And it would be a pretty personal answer. Like, first off, this is not the only song in the world that has ever asked, what's the point in loving? And plenty of other artists that have asked that question have had their own answers. And Jon Bellion, being not just a successful musician, but also a husband and a father, and has expressed his love for his wife and kids literally in the last 3 songs, seems like he would have an answer. And I think that we could have used one in the bridge instead of just repeating the same phrase both lyrically and musically. That's my problem. Literally 48 hours before my first son came into this world, I was in a session and the artist canceled. I was working with friends. I was actually ready to head home when the artist canceled. But Blake said, I want to make a Jon Bellion record. My immediate response was, I haven't written a song for myself in years, and I'll never be an artist, to which he replied, I don't care. For the first time in a while, it forced me to dig super deep into where I was at in that moment personally. And out of nowhere, an actual panic attack hit me. Shoot. Fair enough. I literally started thinking thoughts like, am I crazy for bringing a life into this world? What if something goes wrong? Am I capable of raising a boy? What's the point of life? Like life itself kind of shit. From there, the song kind of just poured out of me, and Amy crushed it, just ushering it in from the sky with me. I went home thinking I would eventually just give it to another artist someday, but over the last few years, 4 major artists cut the song, and every single one of them told me the same thing. I can't sing this song because there is a spirit on. It just feels like it's yours. I can't take this from you. Which frustrated the shit out of me because I was convinced I would never be an artist. Fast forward, and I'm typing this message to you guys as my firstborn is chirping in my ear about some Pokemon nonsense. How dare you call Pokemon nonsense, John? Some John-sense is what this is. And I can barely finish typing this. God is wild like that. This song doesn't really solve. Yeah, I noticed that. I still have questions on a grand scale. But this song gives me a weird peace about it all, even if it's only for the length of the song. So you had... Alright, this is giving me... Maybe I'm a little bit short on musician empathy. Maybe I need to be a little bit more compassionate here. But bro's a pretty successful producer, as far as I can tell. He's working with some pretty good artists, some pretty good bands. And so I understand, perhaps more than others, that panic attacks can in fact come out of the smallest things. So in that sense, it is quite reasonable that, you know, a couple people canceling plans that have to do with your actual job would stress you out in a very sudden way. I get that. That's fair enough. But the idea of having recording artists drop out on you and then people say that they want to make your album causes you to question the purpose of life itself. I have a hard time feeling the bridge between those things, personally. I have a hard time feeling these people canceled, but other people want to make music with and for me into is life worth living. And maybe I'm reducing it a bit, maybe I'm being a little reductive, but I have a hard time finding the bridge between those two things. If he feels peace in this song that does not resolve, then I'm not going to take that away from Jon. As an outside listener, perhaps this is a song that is more for Jon than it is for anyone else. And you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to make a song for yourself and then also put it out. And if anyone else connects with it in the same way that Jon did, great for them. That's me missing out. Verse 1, I'm scared to meet you, because then I might know you. And then once I know you, I might fall in love. Once I'm in love, then my heart is wide open for you to walk in, drop a bomb, blow it up. Then the chorus, so why love anything at all? Why love anything at all? If the higher I fly is the further I fall, then why love anything at all? So I'm scared to meet you. The you might be the album, might be this album, might be the Jon Bellion album in theory, because it had not been made at the time of making this song. Scared to meet you because I might then know you, and once I know you, I might fall in love. So he's afraid of becoming attached to this project that might not actually go that well. I don't know how well received Glory Sound Prep was. I know it didn't make quite as big of a splash as Human Condition, but I thought it was a pretty good album. But maybe it didn't land as much as he had hoped, and maybe that discouraged him and made him feel like he was not going to make it as an artist. I think it's also very, very easy in the music industry as it's in the state that it's currently in. I think this current music industry naturally makes most artists feel like they won't be able to make it for a number of factors. Basically, this industry is angled more towards making money than it is towards making art. The music industry is very, very much been getting geared more towards capitalistic profitability than it is to artistic exploration and fostering that. And it's just a reflection of what's happened to the arts in late stage capitalism in general. Maybe you didn't want to hear the phrase late stage capitalism in an album reaction, but unfortunately, it is relevant. Maybe Jon has this skewed idea of what success looks like, and that kind of success seems very unlikely at the moment. But also, if he starts making this album, he is going to very naturally become excited by making music, as he should be. He's an artist. Making music should be exciting to him, and the idea of making a lucrative or successful album should not be the barrier to that. Is kind of what I'm getting at. So then once he's in love, then his heart is wide open. He is a very personal songwriter, always has been. And so putting himself into this album and then putting it out, and then it bombs, and then not only is the album bombing, then his thoughts and feelings and pieces of himself that he's put in this album are also then not well received, and that hurts. And I get that. So why love anything at all? Why become attached to any sort of project at all? Maybe you just put a glaze over your eyes, phone it in for the rest of your music production career. If the higher you fly is the further you fall. If the more you do, it gives you more stakes to lose, then why love anything at all? Which, maybe that's my problem with the song, is that this question has been asked and answered before. And it's simply that the act of creation is worth itself. You don't have to make things for anyone else. If this song is good enough for Jon Bellion, great. Good for him. I would not, then the song is a success. Then the song is good enough. I'm going to have my own thoughts and feelings, but I'm not going to call those objective judgments, like a lot of art critics try to do. If Jon knows what this song is supposed to do for him, and it does that for him, he's done it. He's succeeded. He can put his own seal of approval on it, and anyone else's thoughts, in the end, truly do not matter, is how I feel about things. Also, speaking as an artist. And I've said this many times before, if at any point I decided that I was making things simply for how other people would feel about them, I would have quit years ago. I would have quit long before I started doing these album reactions, which would have meant that I would have stopped making the stuff that got me monetized, because I wasn't getting monetized yet. You know? As soon as you stop caring about how many people are going to see it, you're going to start making the stuff that people want to see. It's weird, paradoxical, but that is truly how I feel. Verse 2, the Luke Combs bit, stressed and strung out about things that could happen, and I could move mountains with the worry I've done. So I called my father, and he started laughing. He said, "You think it's bad now? Wait till you have a son," which is an interesting parallel to have, because you can't have the same attitude. Maybe you can, but you shouldn't have the same attitude towards raising a kid as you do towards making an album. You know? I don't know if anyone's having kids for the profitability about it. Seems pretty counterproductive. But raising a kid is one of those things that doesn't have a quantifiable benefit. And parts of it are gonna suck. Parts of it are gonna, be really rough. But if you're gonna be asking yourself the question of why love anything, you're gonna be missing the point of doing the thing itself. Like, the point itself is, like, raising the son is kind of self-purposeful. You raise your son because you want to raise your son. You make music because you want to make music. You love your music because you made it yourself. You love your kid because they're this person that you brought into the world, and you want to, give them the best experience that you can give them. I don't know why people are parents. I'm not one. You do the thing for the sake of the thing. I think that's the best I'm going to be able to expound on that. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense, but that's kind of how I feel in both parenting and making art. Do it because you want to do it. Don't do it for literally any other reason. If you find yourself raising a kid or having a kid or making art for any other reason than you want to do that, it's not going to go well. And with that, we're going to keep moving to track 5, Wash. What are we washing? What, do we need to wash off some of the existential dread of the previous track? Okay. Reminds me of bad things fall, or good things fall apart. Okay. Oh, wow. That guitar is right there.
Treat your body like a river and let it wash over me.
Whoa.
See you coming at me like a wave and let it wash
Whoa.
over me. Touch me 12 ways, stars on the leg look like a million diamonds.
Okay.
Let it wash all over me. Treat your body like a river and let it wash over me.
Okay.
See you coming at me like a wave and let it wash.
Alright.
Touch me 12 ways, stars on the leg look like a million diamonds. Let it wash all over me. Like waterfall, you see me from a third eye point of view. Oasis in my arms, my underwater.
Nice. Gotcha.
Fit me right, you fit me right. I don't need a star. Your face is like a full-blown universe.
Alright.
Grace on me, hallelujah, amaze me when she walks away. That's my baby. Treat your body like a river and
Okay. Snap right back in.
see you coming at me like a wave and
This has been a very chill album so far. We're almost halfway through, and this has been a very, very chill album thus far. Maybe it's a backloaded album, which I'm perfectly happy with, but haven't had a whole lot of like really up-tempo songs yet. Which is not a huge problem. It's just weird and unexpected. You don't see that very often. Usually you put your high-paced stuff in at the beginning to kind of ride that over the phases where it gets a little quiet later on. But we're putting in the quiet part first. I do like that acoustic guitar in there. That's a nice... It's tuned very high. Unless that's a ukulele or like a mandolin or something. Ooh. Nice. This is one of the things that I do like a lot about Jon Bellion. He's a very earnest songwriter, and I think that sometimes puts people off. I think there's a lot of people in the 2020s that have gotten a little bit allergic to earnestness, and I am not that. I very much think that we've gotten a little bit addicted to irony and cynicism, as I've already talked about. Specifically just like not feeling our feelings up front and like paying too much attention as to how cliche we sound or how corny we sound. I think if the corny or cliche way to say it is the best way to say it that way. If it sounds a way that you've heard it before, but it's the best way to express it, nothing wrong with the cliche. And I appreciate Jon Bellion for not worrying about sounding corny. It's great. I value that very much. Nice. That was cute. It's pretty clearly like sort of very much just a song about him connecting with his wife, both emotionally and physically. Just a nice little me and my wife in the bedroom kind of song, which I love. I love a very precious, sexy song. You know, it's a very romantic, sexy song. A lot of the time you get one You get the sexy without the romance, which is fine in its own occasion, but it's nice to have both every now and then. The chorus being, treat your body like a river and let it wash over me. See you coming at me like a wave and let it wash over me. Touch me 12 ways. Stars on the lake look like a million diamonds. Let it wash all over me. Now the verse has an interesting line of left eye waterfall. So left eye waterfall as in tears, but is also a nod to Lisa Left Eye Lopes of TLC and their hit song Waterfalls. Gotcha. So we got the waterfalls and the Wonderwall. We just got a couple of song references. Otherwise, we got Left Eye Waterfall. You see me from a third eye point of view. Oasis in my arms, my wonderful wall. You fit me right, fit me. I don't need a star. Your face is like a full-blown universe. I'm always gonna dive in where you are. You fit me right. You fit me right. So yeah, it's just about how Jon Bellion and his wife get each other. They fit well with each other. They understand and see each other. I like third eye point of view of like seeing each other with your third eye, of seeing past the surface into each other. That's a really, really nice way of expressing that. Of like just enjoying your partner in their very essence, just everything about them as it is, and enjoying it for everything that it is, and also beyond that. As another repetitive one, we're getting a lot of taking like maybe 2 parts, like 2.5 parts, and just milking those as best we can with some cool production over it. Seems to be Jon's MO in this album, which is not the worst thing. It would be nice to have maybe a couple more tracks with a little bit more text to them. But again, if this is the album he wanted to make after coming out of not wanting to make music or not expecting to make music for himself, and this is the project that he wanted to make, I'm not going to take that away from him. Let's keep going to the 32nd track on this album, titled VINNY'S Artichokes, and then we'll be going straight from that into Italia Breeze.
Yo, snap a lip.
Hello?
It's me, Vinny.
Hi, Vinny.
You forgot 2 artichokes here.
Artichokes?
I don't know what you want to do with them.
Oh,
Mary's saying if you want to come pick them up.
Pick up the artichokes?
You want me to FedEx them to
FedEx the artichokes? Okay.
Put them in the box and I can FedEx them to you.
Uh-huh.
All right? I'll talk to you later or whatever.
Okay.
Take care, champ.
Okay, thank you. Hey, God.
It's an Italian pharaoh, born from a stallion's marrow.
Okay.
Lawyer straight like a circle, labels round like an arrow. I came from Geno's and Gambini's and Jerry Gallo.
Okay.
So you thought Jerry Gallo? My name is Jerry Callo.
What?
What's an Italian pharaoh?
What is that?
Well, I learned from Moses a kingdom can be brought to ashes, pestilence, famine, and cattle.
Okay.
Your pride's a bitch and my firstborn's just a kid. So
Right.
I'll pack up the pharaoh talk and keep my eyes on the Passover sparrow.
Right,
There's nothing
interesting.
sadder than the father stuck inside a much, much younger man's bravado. Young forever's the motto, and deadbeat is the model. Your culture
Interesting.
got you reaching, and keeping up with the trends got you aging like avocados. A Jesus peace won't bring you peace in times of sorrow, but you don't hear it cause your spirit side is very hollow. She choose Ozempic as the regimen to follow, cause Father Time moving weight, he pushing pills too hard to swallow.
Damn.
I don't miss me with
Okay.
all of that. I'm not the poor thing from the carcass with the boarded back. I use this song to tell my great grandkids to feel the sheesh. What's an Italian pharaoh?
I don't know.
I miss my Uncle Mikey. Bill Bellion's pinky ring. A few drops of sauce on my white tee. Cold Stone Killers was showing up to mass. Thank God my father took up the Christian path. Universal was balking on the lifetime deal. Then Big John paid in full like how Mackay I feel. Some Gary Paytons tried to stop me from crossing over, but my career has been a Jason Williams highlight reel. Sheesh. Thank my father as we smoking cigars, we blowing smoke into the
All right. So if you weren't aware, Jon Bellion is Italian. Probably would have picked up on that a certain ways in. Probably from the transition track just slightly before. Which I did want to go back to VINNY'S Artichokes, because there's a little explanation. John says, this was an actual voicemail from my buddy's uncle Vinny. Lol, it was such a snapshot of the culture I live inside, and something about a human offering to FedEx artichokes to his nephew, but being dead serious feels like levels of Italian comedy unmatched. I also think it introduces the small run of songs that are a direct homage to my heritage, and this aggressive leap to create songs from my culture that are a bit more newer sounding than Dominic the Donkey. I am aware of Dominic the Donkey, the Italian Christmas donkey. Well aware of that song. This is one of my favorite moments on any of my albums ever. Hope it makes you smile like it does me every time. That's great. That is very good. Just seriously inquiring, do you want me to FedEx you these 2 artichokes so that you have them because you left them here? That's so good. But Italia Breeze is, like you said, this lovely, smooth homage to John's Italian heritage, and sort of how that keeps him grounded, and how it also gives him ambition. There's a lot of text in here, because while he was not rapping too quickly, he was putting a lot in here. Keeping a good flow going. So, verse 1, here we go. What's an Italian pharaoh? Born from a stallion's marrow. Lawyers straight like a circle, labels round like an arrow. I came from Geno's and Gambini's and Jerry Gallo's. Oh, you thought Jerry Gallo? My name is Jerry Callo, which I don't know that reference. Hang on. John alludes to Joe Pesci's character in the 1992 movie My Cousin Vinny, who confuses a judge into believing he is an established New York lawyer named Jerry Gallo. Later, Pesci's character claims to the judge that he said Callo, not Gallo. Okay, so that's a My Cousin Vinny reference. Great. He keeps asking, what's an Italian pharaoh? Which is crazy because pharaohs are not Italian, which I suppose is the point of the question of, like, what would you call a pharaoh, or, like this Egyptian monarch / religious figure, but they're Italian. What do you call that? But he then uses that pharaoh reference to start talking about the story of Moses. He says, I learned from Moses a kingdom can be brought to ashes, pestilence, famine, and cattle, referring to the 10 plagues. Yeah, pride's a bitch and my firstborn's just a kid, so I'll pack up the pharaoh talk and keep my eyes on the Passover sparrow. So basically referring to the final plague being the death of all the firstborn Egyptian kids. And he's like, all right, so that part, I don't want to be the pharaoh in that particular case, so I'm going to pack up the pharaoh talk and keep my eyes on the Passover sparrow. The sparrow is a biblical symbol that represents followers of Christ who are humble. Okay, so pack up the king talk and remind himself to be humble. Because, he said, there's nothing sadder than a father stuck inside a much, much younger man's bravado. Young forever is the motto, then deadbeat is the model. Which is a nice sort of stretch rhyme there between motto and model. Of basically being like, if you're trying to stay young forever, you're not going to make for a very good dad. If you're trying to maintain your own youth and your own vitality, you're going to miss out on just being a good father figure. Your culture got you reaching and keeping up with the trends got you aging like avocados. A Jesus piece, referring to like a cross, a crucifix necklace, will bring you peace in times of sorrow, but you won't hear it because your spirit side is very hollow. Basically being like, if your only side of spirituality is that you just have the crucifix around your neck, that's not actually going to help you much, not going to bring you much peace. She chooses Ozempic as the regimen to follow, because father time move and weight, he pushing pills too hard to swallow. I guess we're talking about the insecurity that comes with aging and applying that to men and women. In the case of like men trying to hold on to their masculinity and trying to hold on to their identity as young men, whereas with women it can manifest in these sort of weight loss regimens that are not actually helpful or healthy. What is Madone? So evolved from Madonna Mia, or my mother, to express surprise or exasperation. Oh, so it's just an exclamation of just being like, tease! Pre-chorus, miss me with all that. I'm not the poor thing from the Caucasus with the boarded back. Child of God, I am the Alpha and Omega's giraffe. Straight off the boat, my ancestors hit my pen and pad. I hear him whisper like a Italia breeze. Which I don't like that he ended the verse with rather than an N if he's leading into an Italian breeze. Maybe there's a linguistic thing there between English and Italian of Italia breeze. Maybe that works better in Italian than it does in English. But as an English speaker, I hear that and I'm like, it should be an Italian breeze. But again, if that's how we wanted it and that's not a mistake, then it's not a mistake. And I'm not going to call it a mistake. The chorus. My grandmother said, my chain is now your logo. Close your eyes and feel the Italia breeze. My grandfather said, we made it from $1 in a rowboat. Close your eyes and feel the Italia breeze. And when I'm gone, I'll use this song to tell my great grandkids to feel the Italia breeze. John using the chorus to sort of talk about how his Italianness, his Italian heritage is very much part of the music that he makes and part of what he puts into his music. He's written a number of odes to New York City, which also comes with some of that Italian culture very much. But specifically in this case, we've got like grandmother's chain is now your logo, talking about his grandparents coming from Italy with $1 in a rowboat, and when he's gone, these songs that he's written will be a way to connect his great grandkids and descendants from him, to remind them of their Italian heritage. Verse 2, what's an Italian pharaoh? I don't know if we're ever gonna know. I don't know if we're gonna know what an Italian pharaoh. But then he says, I miss my Uncle Mikey. Bill Bellion's pinky ring, few drops of sauce on my white tea. They call us guineas for rocking pennies. I rock 'em nightly. Pennies, I believe, referring to the like very thin mesh shirts. And yes, guinea being a somewhat derogatory term used in the late 19th, early 20th century, referring to Italian Americans. Straight, white, and like myself, I see why some people don't like me. You and the Matrix have a blast. Make sure that you write me. Matrix, I'm assuming referring to the internet, then referring to me being the person in the Matrix. How fast they build you up to break you down, make sure you time me. How fast Giuseppe's fade will last, well make sure you line me. Chianti sipping like Jamaicans, make sure you wine me. Kingpin players were putting rings in brass, concrete layers were putting bricks in bags, cold stone killers were showing up to mass. Thank God my father took up the Christian path, Universal was balking on the lifetime deal. Then Big John paid in full like how Mecky I feel. I can't remember how he pronounced that. Some Gary Paytons tried to stop me from crossing over, but my career has been a Jason Williams highlight reel. There's a lot going on there. Basically talking about the history of anti-Italian prejudice that was pretty prominent in pretty much throughout the 20th century and even into the early 21st. Basically using that as a point of pride, the penny that otherwise would have pointed out their Italian heritage, this pinafore, which is this like thin mesh shirt. Not a mesh shirt necessarily, but it is like a thin undershirt. Straight white, and like myself, I see why some people don't like me. So maybe he is aware of his presence in the world of hip hop as an Italian person, which now when you have a demographic of people that have themselves experienced discrimination at some point or another in history, but can sometimes present as white.
One eternity later.
All right, so what just happened is basically I think I just tried to unpack the question, are Italian people white? And I think trying to parse through that in a cohesive and eloquent and precise manner caused my brain to just short circuit and entirely enter, which then just led me to having an anxiety attack. About a week has passed. I'm feeling better. The sunburn that I clearly had on my nose and forehead has pretty much healed up. So let's freaking finish this song and this album. If you're wondering why the video took so long for me to make, if you're wondering why there was such break between last video and this one, which obviously does happen between my other videos, especially before I'm about to make one of these, but in this specific situation, it's because my brain just decided to shut down halfway through analyzing these lyrics, and I wasn't feeling back up to snuff until about 8 days later. So let's continue. I'm just gonna move past verse 2. There's a lot of references in this verse that I don't think I have the cultural know-how to be able to piece out. So if the more worldly of those of you in the comments could perhaps do that work amongst yourselves, that'd be hugely appreciated. I do want to note that the song ends with, I thank my father as we smoking cigars, we blowing smoke into the Italia breeze. Madonna. So just this nice quiet moment of Jon and his father just enjoying their time, smoking cigars, feeling the family bond, which is very much what the song has been about. I think I'll end the analysis of this by just reading what Jon Bellion had put on the Beautiful Mind forum when they released the album. He says, Italia Breeze rather, is just a snapshot of my culture, plain and simple. There's a tone my uncles had explaining something or telling a joke or telling a story. This unwavering confidence that Italian men I looked up to and still do speak with. There's an ignorance and a scathing sincerity. I'm sort of addressing things that I fall victim to in the chase for relevancy, or at least what my phone tells me is relevant. It's almost like I'm sparring with myself and exploring cultural concepts while proudly wearing my heritage on my arm. I'm so proud to be a Long Island Italian. This culture raised me. In my younger years, I tried to separate myself from it, like being a regular guy from the island was something I had to disprove. Now I thank God every day that I'm inescapably, and I hope it's not wrong for me to read this word, a Goomba. I didn't know that was slang for, I'm assuming specifically, a Long Island Italian person. If that's not a word that I have any license to read, even quoting it, I deeply apologize to my Italian audience. And then he says, I want my grandparents to smile down on this one. I didn't realize that word referred to anything other than the creature in Super Mario, which now that I'm thinking about it, did the term exist before the creature in Super Mario World? And if so, did Nintendo name one of their most iconic video game creatures off of cultural shorthand for an Italian person? Especially considering the main character of said game is Italian. Again, I don't have time to get into that. We're gonna move on to the next song, Get It Right. Maybe at some point in this video I'll be able to get something right. Alright. Still got a little bit of that.
Yeah,
hi.
Everybody's a player, right?
Okay, featuring Lil Mo, Mozzarella, and Teddy Swims, and Lawrence. Who else is on here?
If you think pimping ain't easy,
I didn't say pimping was easy.
marriage,
Tori Kelly's on here.
marriage is impossible.
Is it? Is marriage impossible? My parents have been doing it pretty well for the last little while. Can't be impossible. Oh my goodness. What's with the chipmunk vocals? Jeez. Jesus Christ.
You are the man.
Okay, and then this is Teddy.
I was the game.
Alright.
I was the game you played. So can we decide that we'll give this one more try?
Okay.
And we'll get it right.
Is this a post-breakup song? Like a winner back kind of song? I'm so curious as to what made Jon want to put those, like, pitched up vocals in there. I'm not sure if I dislike it, but I can't say that I'm immediately into it. It's just such a striking choice right off the bat. They haven't given me any time to, like, adjust to it. So maybe by the end of the song I'll be into it, but for now, I don't know about that one, Jon.
I never meant to hit the wall, make you cry.
Do you mean literally hit the wall, or like a metaphorical wall?
But I got it right this time.
Okay. Oh, there's Clyde of Lawrence. Well, that's a shift. That was a shift. Alright, there's Clyde again. We're just...
I remember I was 15. Your sister sister said I was good, but I'd never be Swiss Beats.
Right? I don't know who Swiss
15
Beats
years later,
is,
I
but
look up at the billboard and that bitch is Swiss
Okay.
cheese. It's like bang, 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 pop, pop, rocket ship.
alright.
Good shit, babies and sleepless nights, the craziness of man and wife, the good, the bad, the dark, the light. I'm with you till we get it right.
We love a little bit of wife guy rapping. I like that bass.
God is my witness.
That's nice.
I'm with you till we get it right.
Got some horns in there.
Thank you for the loyalty.
You're welcome, I think. I don't know how loyal I've been. Okay. That was Get It Right. That was interesting. There was a lot going on there, and there were different things. There were different kinds of a lot happening at different points. Get It Right has 5 features on it. Yeah, I saw that. When we typed them all out, I just hated how jumbled it looked, and then it popped in my mind to have a fun moment that people can guess and argue over with the features. It probably would have streamed more if I listed all the features, but you know me, gotta be difficult for the team. This song has had so many changes that I actually halted the vinyl production, making so many last-minute changes during test pressing. John, you can't be doing that. It's like the music equivalent of what they were freaking doing with the newer Spider-Verse movie. You can't just be making last-minute changes, dude. Can't wait to see the guesses. Long story short, thank you to the people that worked on this record tirelessly and made it the Italian Scorsese love story I envisioned. Was that the vision? My wife and I have known each other since 7th grade. This song is a classic sonic approach that pays homage to that. Well, that's cute. 7th grade? Jeez. Okay, that's a real childhood sweethearts kind of situation. That's very cute. There was something about like Get It Right this time. What do you mean this time? Is what I'm asking. Like why are we saying this time other than just for the freaking meter of it? You know? Was there a previous time where it didn't work out and now they're trying it again? There's just a whole lot of, like, clearly just an ode to his wife and, you know, being patient with him as he works as a bit of a public person and as a very busy music producer and also now being parents. Going through old pictures that Dexter flicked. Apparently, this is Dexter Findlay, who captured much of Jon's life on the Human Condition tour, as well as filming many of Jon's popular The Making of YouTube videos. Okay, so he's a sort of like semi-regular cameraman. My life's a shipwreck without you anchoring and leveling. I know a lot of CEOs with billions and resentful kids. Yikes. Yeah, don't we all? I also know a lot of famous people that are wishing for an average life. Talking Tums on the nightstand at 65, the good shit, babies and sleepless nights. The craziness of man and wife, the good, the bad, the dark, the light. I'm with you until we get it right. Okay, so maybe the get it right this time is just like a continuation, like love as practice and love as a continuous and repeated decision. Like every day is an opportunity to do better as a husband and father than perhaps you were yesterday. Maybe that's what he's getting at there. So the 5 features on this song that they got people to guess were in fact Teddy Swims, Clyde Lawrence of Lawrence, Tori Kelly, and Lil Mo Mozzarella. Wait, that's 4 features. Did he say 5? Who the hell is the 5th feature? That's gonna bother me now. That's only 4. Unless you count Jon as one of the features, which I do not. That doesn't count. You can't just call yourself your own feature. Oh, that's gonna bother me. But no matter. Verse 2 made my ears perk up. After get it right this time. I never meant to hit the wall, make you cry. I die, I made you cry, but I'll get it right this time. Johnny, are you punching walls? You got some anger issues that you gotta get worked out? Cause like if you're like reflexive emotional impulses are causing you to like cause property damage, you should probably like talk that shit out or like work it out. However, I don't know, go to like a rage room or something, because that's pretty frightening. I'm not accusing John of anything like too horrendous, but if you're pressing down some impulses to punch a wall, that's the kind of impulse that you don't want to let that fester for too long. Otherwise, you're punching things you don't want to punch. Let's keep going. I think I've talked about that as much as I would want to. Track 9, Kid Again. Bellion's debut single as the sole controller of his music. Interesting. So this was his first time under his own label. Very cool. Let's see what it's like being a kid again. Ooh, hello guitar. That's cool. All right, and then get the. Uh-huh. Oh, all right. I could do anything. Very smooth.
Yeah, same thing.
I could do anything.
Yep.
It's wild in the west, there's wolves at night.
Okay.
But you said I want this dog gone by.
Okay.
I am a
All
kid
right.
again.
Did we need, like, perhaps this is just like a convention to be found in hip-hop music. I don't know if we needed the woof. Or maybe we, like, that just sounded like John just saying woof into the microphone. If you're gonna do a woof, just make it an actual, like, dog sound. I don't know. I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time complaining about that, but something about that just stuck out to me as perhaps unnecessary or perhaps didn't go far enough. Oh, okay. What is going on there? Whoa, those are some weird vocal effects. Okay. Is it just me, or does that the light vocal? It sounds like at a certain point in the word, it gets like a little like guttural, like light. Maybe we'll hear it later on, but like there's something very like just a little bit off about that. I don't hate it. It's very, but it's noticeably strange.
I don't even care if I fall. I don't even care if I fall. Wake up!
Woo! I like that.
What happened to your life? Wake up! What happened to your life? I am a kid again. What happened to your life? Wake up! I am a kid again. Wake up! I can do anything. Wake up! I am a kid again. I can do anything.
What happened to your life?
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! I am a kid again. I can do anything. I am a kid again. I can do anything.
Okay, hang on. That was the next song. Okay. Pretty steady through the whole thing. Not a whole lot of musical diversity going on there, which is fine, Right. Bellion confirmed that after being bound for 6 years, his contract had been reversed, which returned the rights and creative control of his own music. Great! Good for him. Great. What does Jon have to say? I wanted Kid Again to be the only song on the album that sort of nods to my older music. Something that felt like some Jon shit, but still still grumpier and more mature. Ha ha ha. The response has been incredible, and it means a lot to me because of what it represents. Okay, I don't know if I necessarily got a vibe of his older stuff from that one. That song very much fit with the rest of this album, so I'm not sure I picked up on that. Basically, the song being a celebration of Jon Bellion's musical independence and that he owns all of his own stuff now, which it's a shame that was ever not the case. And according to the lyrics, seems like he's feeling very much renewed by the process. The main chorus is, "Oh my love, what happened to your light? I am a kid again. I can do anything." Yeah, that freedom and that autonomy and ownership of your own stuff, and the ability to make your own stuff and decide what happens to it, rather than having some weird second, third party suddenly be the arbiter of that will. I'm sure it feels great. I believe so. In verse 3, he says, "Feel the Yah back in control." Says Bellion is speaking to a higher power, admitted feeling in the presence of Yah, which is short for Yahweh, or God. The lyrics are pretty self-explanatory, of basically just asking, "Hey, what happened to you? Seems like you didn't really have a light, and now he's got the light back, and he's a kid again." Maybe it is the fact that I don't know, I'm an older person with a slightly different music taste, coming back to Jon Bellion's music, and perhaps I've changed more than I expected. I've changed more from the person that enjoyed his music a lot more. I've changed more from that than I expected. Even Glory Sound Prep was not necessarily a bigger success than Human Condition, but both Glory Sound Prep and Human Condition had some really, really big, powerful moments, and I'm just not getting a whole lot of those from here. Maybe it's the fact that Jon's only getting back into the game after a long time of making other people's stuff, but I'm just not feeling the heavy hitters, you know? I feel like he's pulling some punches right now, but we're not gonna worry about it for now. We're gonna keep informing my opinion about this album. We're not done yet. We have 4 more tracks. So I just realized I just got to the end of the album and realized that for unfortunately the second time on this channel's history, I just skipped a track. We entirely skipped over track 10. I'm going to be editing this in so that it's directly after Kid Again, but for full transparency's sake, I'm recording this a little out of order, just slightly out of order. The back half was 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, and then 14, and then 10 is sort of the order that I'm experiencing this in. Let's listen to Modern Times by Jon Bellion and Jon Batiste. I love a little Jon Batiste feature. Last time I heard him, I think was on Empathogen by Willow. So we love having a second Jon B has struck the album. Let's hear Jon's thoughts on the Modern Times. Oh! Ooh! We're grooving. I can't believe I just skipped over this. Ooh!
station or medication.
Ooh, we got some
I don't know anymore.
it's like police-esque reggae vibes.
I don't know anymore. There's a line, I think we crossed it. No way over, I'm the road around it. Not
Nice.
the life your mom and pa lived. Arms and legs inside is a right cause this is modern times in America.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Brother got some money and lost his sense of
Ooh.
mind.
Some sort of-
America.
All right. This is chicken chicka. Okay.
Before she walks away.
This is not a sound that we have had for the entire rest of the album. What is going on here? This is great. This is a lot of fun.
This stuff got some money and lost her sense of mind. Times in America.
Oh, hello, Batiste. All right. Nice. Very cool. Ooh. That bass came in right nicely. Okay. All right, John. All right, Mr. Okay, Mr. Batiste.
Modern times in America, mass hysteria. Everything blaring on my radio,
Whoa.
on my screen, make me want to go. In
Okay.
America, the thick of the money and lots of sense of mind.
Ooh.
Oh, America.
Oh, America.
Lost our sense of mind.
Oh, good shots.
America, America.
And then we get into that Motown kind of double time beat. Love that. Very good. Oh, that's stressful. Oh, that was a lot. That was a stressful experience, which perhaps is on purpose. Okay. Modern times, specifically in America. It doesn't seem to me that Jon Bellion was trying to make a super, like, pinpointed critique of modern times in America. He threw in a couple of observational insights, but for the most part, I think the overall attitude is nuts out here. Times is bad. And I'm including Canada in that as well. Modern times in North America. Verse 1, meditation or medication, I don't know anymore. Education, incarceration, I don't know anymore. As to whether these are choices to make or if these are things that are happening is not clear, but I think that's okay as far as the like meditation versus medication. Like, what do we do or what is happening? I think the fact that it follows with I don't know anymore kind of absolves it of any specific like propositioning of like, are we saying this is what should be happening? Like, should we be meditating or medicating? Like, educate, incarcerate, what's happening? What should we be doing? I don't know anymore. The I don't know anymore kind of covers the vagueness of that verse. Then the pre-chorus, there's a line, I think we crossed it. No way over, under, or around it. Not the life your mom, pa lived. Arms and legs inside this ride, cause... Moving to the chorus, this is modern times in America. Brother got some money and lost his sense of mind. Times in America. Brother got some money and lost his sense of mind. Basically being like, we have gone a little bit further too far down the old capitalism train track. And lost all sense. You know, things went a little bit too far in that direction, which is exactly as predicted by a whole lot of people for a very long time. People have been saying capitalism bad for a very long time, and now we get to make art about how it's a bad time. Verse 2, If you don't got no funds, she walks away. If you don't got no pill, don't knock on her door. She a robot slave to the cell phone frame. She knows it, and I don't know anymore. If you don't got no funds, she walks away. Is this like a commentary on dating? Let's take a... before I get too deep into these lyrics, I'm gonna see what Jon's got to say on this one. This is what my brain looks like when I'm worried about the future of this country for my children in a song. There's no inherent political statement. It's just like an American anxiety attack. I love the way Batiste repeating "in America" over and over and over has this disturbing, unsettling feel to it. Exactly what I said. Sort of stirs something in me that I love to blast and see people's reactions to. It's on some, no, it's not all good and I don't know what to do about it shit. Yeah, I like the way you put that. Yeah, American anxiety attack. Back to verse 2. Got no funds, she walked away. I'm assuming that's a critique of like modern dating culture of like, if you're not providing tax forms, proof of income, kind of shit, suddenly you are not an eligible bachelor, even if you're kind of a nice guy. Not to get too nice guyish about it. If you don't got no pills, don't knock on her door. Drug problems, which sort of the drug epidemics in America, which Jon has written other music about as well. She a robot slave to the cell phone frame. People be on their phones. People sure do be on their phones. You're right, Jon. Then Jon Batiste, his part, a tale as old as time. Modern times in America, mass hysteria, everything blaring out my radio on my screen, make me want to go, ah! Was sort of what I think he was going for. I think he was going for that sound. I like that he says a tale as old as time. Like it's been this way for a little bit now. Quite a while, in fact. In modern times, it's been mass hysteria for a long time in one form or another. And that's pretty much it. We're anxious in America. On to Wash 2. You don't see a lot of song sequels, but this is pretty clearly a second part to track 5, which was just Wash. This is Wash 2. How are we building on Wash? Alright. A little bit of gospel piano to start. That's nice.
Treat your body like a river wind.
Right, Wash was the other one about his wife.
All over
Yeah.
me. See you coming at me like a waving. Let it wash all over me.
Is this just a reprise? It's very pretty. Ooh. I like that.
Touch me 12 ways, stars on the lake look like a million diamonds. I'm always gonna dive in where you are. You feel me right. Oh,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
left eye waterfall.
Wait a
See me from
minute.
a third eye point of view. Oasis in my arms, my
This isn't a sequel. This is just a reimagined version of the song. This is just Wash version 2. Jon Bellion, you're sneaking in an acoustic version as something else? I'm like, obviously it's his album. If he's gonna put an acoustic version of a song on, then he's entirely allowed to do that. Just feels a little bit like cheating to not have it listed as such and to just be like, yeah, no, this is the sequel. This is the sequel. This is Wash 2 instead of just rewashed. It's been rewashed. Oh, a little piano solo here. This is pretty. This is like the wedding procession version of this song. This is nice. I like this.
let it wash all over me.
Nice. Pick a card. Which one are we resolving on? There we go. Oh, we're really letting it ring out. We're letting it ring all the way out. And then we hear the breath.
Another great one. Amazing. Dude, it sounds fucking great.
Okay. Alright. Alright. I don't know if we needed the freaking self-congratulatory, yeah, dude, this is a really good song on your own freaking album. I don't know. It's like, it's a good song, but like, and it's good to be excited about your own music. It just feels a little bit weird to just have the end of the actual track have the audio of you being like, yeah, this one's a real winner. Like, it is a winner, and you should be proud of it. I don't know if you need to include the audio to really tell you. With that said, I think I like this better than Wash 1. I think this could have just been the representation of Wash on the album. I think with this, I don't know if we needed the fully produced version. I think it's a brave choice to take the two versions of a song, take the more stripped down version, and have that be the definitive version of the song. Let's see what Jon thought about putting this Wash 2 on the album. Went to my parents' house and was rehearsing for the Wash acoustic. He was already recording an acoustic version? Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. I was rehearsing for the Wash acoustic, but the first take of exploring the chords and stuff felt so good, I just ran it a couple times and recorded. I like that it follows no time and sort of meanders. It's very opposite of my usual tendencies. And I think that speaks to the approach of the album as a whole. So I challenged myself, I slipped it on the track list. I also think someone listening to the album for the first time will be like, is this another version of the song I heard earlier? And I love that. Do you, Jon? Do you love that you just got to put two of the same song on your album? And just put a 2 on it? Are you proud? You're real proud of yourself, Johnny boy? Okay. Okay. I'm not gonna read the lyrics again. It's the same lyrics. It's the exact same lyrics. Actually, fewer lyrics. He's stripped it down a bit, both lyrically and musically. I think this should have been the only version of the song on the album. That's gonna be my hot take. Let's keep going to track 12, Rich and Broke. Is this like a duality thing, or are you trying to claim that you are rich and broke at the same time? Because I'm not sure how that works.
All that money you broke is fuck.
Okay, right, yeah, it's not at the same time situation.
I still can't buy your time.
Okay.
Change. Fuck it, I changed my mind. Oh, my
that's an interesting beat. A little bit of like a break beat.
I felt the earthquake in New York. I was in my goose down bed. That was in my big house with the whip outside on 10.
Right,
The bum
okay.
had dropped outside. Had a big chain around my neck that I worked for my whole life. But the first thought was my kids. I felt the earthquake in New York.
Okay.
I was in my goose down bed. That was in my big house. Rest your head in my heart. Rest your head in my heart. If less of me will give you more, I'm strangled in my pride.
Okay.
Light of my life. Get down my life.
Nice, alright.
I felt the
Right,
earthquake
and then
in
we're
New
back
York.
into this.
I was in my goose down bed. That was in my big
I will say this chorus feels very different from Jon's usual style. Just like the delivery of it is like the sort of tone and pacing of it is very different from what I'm used to hearing from Jon. I like it.
When the morning comes to hurt the family.
Hurt the family? Why's the morning doing that? What? Ooh, what's going on here? It's weird. weird.
To take the family, we say. Devil get out the house, 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 devil get out the house.
Some weird timing there.
Comes to hurt the family. I say, I'll never let you take my
Okay. I like that scream. That was very cool. Okay. All right. That one I was into. I liked that. Okay, I think I understand what the rich and broke thing is. Verse 1, we got loose change, still can't buy you time. Loose change, fuck it, I changed my mind. While my home's not a foreign place, boys need me, need to see my face. You got the watch with the foreign face, but all of your boys see a foreign face. Starting things off with the keyword foreign. Loose change still can't buy you time, which is kind of sets down the entire thesis of the song, which is you're gonna have all the money you want, but when time comes to lose the things that really matter, money doesn't really matter. You know, you can have all the money in the world, but there are still gonna things that you can lose that will make you feel like you've lost everything. My home's not a foreign place. Boys need me, need to see my face. Jon's making sure that he's at home. Like, yeah, he's back in the music studio making his own stuff, but he's still got to be a father, and he's got to make sure that his kids see his face. I like the line, you got the watch with the foreign face, but all of your boys see a foreign face. Watch with the foreign face, I'm assuming implying like an expensive European watch. Like a Swiss watch or something that was very, very expensive, but all the money that you made to get that watch is from all the time that you spent not with your family. And so you have your foreign-faced watch, but also your kids don't like have as strong of a relationship with you because of how you prioritize your time. Then we get into the chorus, which is, I felt the earthquake in New York. I was in my goose down bed. I was in my big, big house with a whip outside on 10. I understand that whip is slang for a car, generally a pretty nice one. Thought a bomb had dropped outside, had a big chain around my neck that I worked for my whole life, but my first thought was my kids. This is where we get probably what was the sort of incident that probably inspired this song, is Jon hanging out in his home in New York. He's probably doing pretty well. He's in his big, big house. He's got this fancy goose feather down bed. He's got a fancy car outside. But when that earthquake hit, the first thing he thought of was not all of the stuff that he had worked very, very long to earn the money to make. It was his kids. And realizing how quickly how quickly and how fragile you can lose, or how quickly you can lose things, and how fragile the things that matter really are. Which then leads us into the bridge, which is also where things get a little interesting, and Jon starts making some kind of niche or, deep cut references. So we've got when the morning comes to hurt the family. So we say, devil get out the house. But then it also says son of the morning comes to take the family. So son of the morning is apparently a direct quote from Bible verse Isaiah 14:12, which says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning." how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations. That's how we then get devil, get out of the house. Son of the morning is this more eloquent, elevated way to refer to the devil, Satan, Lucifer, all different names for a figure that is in himself pretty abstractly found in a few different sort of identities in the Bible. Is using that to sort of identify this moment where any sentiment that any of John's nice material things might have mattered more to him than his kids did, that is the thing that he is getting out of the house. When the morning comes to hurt or take the family, we say, devil, get out of the house. When something happens to the family, doesn't matter how nice your stuff is, that's your priority. Family is your priority, which I like that. What does John say? What does John say about this one? Rich and broke is a tantrum, an angry blame game, feeling like the culture lied to me. I'm reclaiming what it means to be wealthy. I see it as a spiritual battle anime episode fighting generational curses and temptations. Interesting. Okay, I like that. I like that imagery. The devil get out the house outro is sort of unexplainable to me. It makes me feel something super intense and captivating. I agree. Yeah, it's a very provocative line. I'm still not sure what genre or what to liken it to, but all I know is it makes me feel something. Interested on everyone else's take on it for sure. This is one of those moments, it was a conscious decision to play out on the edge sonically and reach for the future. Like reach. And I could definitely tell he was doing a little bit of sonic stretching, and I think it paid off for him. I really liked that track. I think that might be one of my favorites on the album. Let's keep going. Track 13, Don't Shoot. Are we in danger? Is someone about to shoot? Alright. Alright.
He's in the stars.
Ooh.
That's where he plays.
Alright.
So watch where you aim.
Uh-huh.
'Cause Mama's
Some like
crazy
acoustic rock vibes.
and Papa's crazy. That's my heart, my veins. That's my blood, my bones. If you want that case, that's a case I'll close. If you're in his way, then I'm on my way. Oh, don't shoot that boy.
Cool.
He stays in the clouds.
I like this. With the strings and everything. Oh, this is a big moment. There we go.
I'll lay your ass out.
This is not a musical choice I was expecting from Mr. Bellion. First off, this is a big like musical moment that I was very much waiting and hoping for on the album. It's a little too bad that it's the second last track for it to happen, but you know what? It's better than not happening at all. I love getting this like sort of slow soul jam.
Don't shoot that boy down.
The sound effects, that's so silly.
He stays in the clouds.
One thing I have never said about Jon Bellion and never will say about Jon Bellion is a lack of charisma. He is so good at expressing emotion and like really goes for it at appropriate moments. He is so not shy to like really let himself loose, both vocally and emotionally, and both at the same time when appropriate. And I really appreciate that about him as a singer specifically.
That's a case I'll close. If you're in his way, bitch, I'm on
rhythm. I love it. Nice run there. That bass is almost like no effects on it. Wow. Oh, are we doing a steady transition into the final track? Seems like that. Oh. Ah, it's audio of the boys. Cute. Okay. Okay, we do get a full fade out. Nice! I love that one. All right. Rich and Broken Don't Shoot. Real 1-2 punch. What's John got to say about this one? I experienced some... Well, I'm assuming this is past tense. Experienced some childhood trauma when I was younger, like most of us. And did some work around being the person younger me needed. Even having a conversation with the boy that felt alone that day. Younger me. This is actually me talking to young me as much as my own children. What a trip. Think Aerosmith Don't Want to Miss a Thing stadium shit. Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely the vibe. Don't want to miss a thing. That's great. And I love that, talking both to your younger self and your kids. Of just like, let this kid do his thing. Let him explore. Let him figure shit out. Don't shoot him down. I'm sure that conversation with his younger self was a cathartic one. Great. Let's take a look at some of this. First one, rockets and planes. He's in the stars. That's where he plays. So watch where you aim, because mama swings and papa's crazy. So that's probably digging into some John's specific trauma. So perhaps a bit of a turbulent home life as a kid. Pre-chorus, that's my heart, my veins, that's my blood, my bones. If you want that case, that's a case I'll close. If you're in his way, then I'm on my way. Going straight into the chorus, don't shoot that boy down. He stays in the clouds. Don't shoot that boy down. I'll lay your ass out. In brackets, I will. Don't shoot that boy down. That's such a precious and like, yeah, again, earnest expression and support, like self-support and self-forgiveness to kind of put into a song. I suppose for the present and for the future, like talking to yourself of like that little kid that didn't get what he needs. This is his time to give him what he needs. Don't shoot him down and don't shoot yourself down, and make sure that your boys aren't getting shot down either, right? Make sure that your boys feel supported in the way that you perhaps did not. Verse 2, watch what you say. Be careful now. Don't take the battery out of his back or get the gas out of his trunk. I tell him, watch how you play. Be careful now. Watch how you speak to that boy. Don't push your luck. Because that's my heart, my veins, etc. Yeah, just really being protective and being a little bit more supportive and standing up for yourself and your younger self, and in that way being the example to your kids that you would want to be in their lives. That's lovely. That's very precious. Let's move on to the final track. My boy. We started out with father figure, and now we're turning our focus to the boys. All right. A little bit of a cappella harmony. That's cool. That's pretty. All right.
Stay young.
Okay. I'll do my best.
Stay small, my boy.
Oh, he's talking to his boy. I can't stay
Fit
small.
inside these arms forever, 'cause the world's not all it's cracked up to.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a classic Jon Bellion move right there.
I sigh, I cry, my boy.
Right.
Soon you'll see the world is not this room, and I can't keep you from the pain that you'll have to see.
Pretty. That's pretty.
Lord, it's tough to hold my son.
All right, we're
here
just
in the
talking.
moment. I need to keep him safe. Tell me which direction this world is going. I feel ashamed for my lack of faith when you walk the ocean. Eve bit the apple, my faith is weak and my trust is broken.
Right, we're just praying now.
There's things that I can't keep him from. Like the loneliness you feel and the realizations of growing up. Like a best friend at his mother's bedside when she passes from the leukemia.
Whoa,
like a coach about to die asking you why he's gotta leave his son. I hate the weakness of owning up to the sins of past.
Sure.
I hate the weakness of giving up what I used to have.
Yeah, that's fair. That's valid.
I hate the weakness of showing my son what makes me sad.
Do you? Do you?
He said a present father is worth way more than a perfect dad.
Absolutely.
Soon you'll see the world is not this room, and I can't keep you from the pain that you'll have to see. Stay young.
They probably won't. Nice. Classic. A classic track to end it off with. Wow. And that's how they close it, with a little bit of the Jesus loves me. I feel like that probably means more to Jon than it does to most of his audience. Maybe not most of it. I'm sure it means something to quite a bit of his audience. It just doesn't hit me quite as hard as it might others. Well, this one's pretty clearly about being a dad and wanting to protect his kids from all the scariness of the world, but also knowing that he's not going to be a good dad if he tries to do that for too long. Total transparency. I just signed merch for 4 hours, and typing about this song is literally too hard for me. Crowd is piling in for the Yacht session. They are chanting lyrics, and to write about the most vulnerable song literally of my life, I just don't have it in me. Louia is telling me to wrap this up so I can go say what's up to my friends that just got here. Hard to paint the picture of how I'm feeling right now. People still caring about an artist after he left for so long. I don't really know what to say. I'm gonna go play some music for some friends and enjoy the night. So thanks for being only believing in me. Thanks for still caring. Thanks for all. It's been a hell of a ride. This is a very vulnerable song as far as he's concerned, which makes sense. I'm gonna get into a little bit of that. We're gonna look at the chorus first off. Stay young, stay small, my boy. Fit inside these arms forever, 'cause the world's not all it's cracked up to be. I sigh, I cry, my boy. Soon you'll see the world is not this room, and I can't keep you from the pain that you'll have to see. This push and pull that, from what I've heard, I'm pretty sure every good, caring parent is familiar with, of wanting to protect their kids and prevent them harm, but also wanting your kids to live full, happy lives. And that's not going to happen if they don't go out and experience the world for better and for worse. Wanting them to just be small enough and young enough that you can just hold them tight forever. But unfortunately, that's just not how humans work. Which then leads in the verse, which is basically just Jon Bellion praying, which I do think is a cool, like, sort of choice to have for, like, this section of the song. It says, Lord, it's tough to hold my son and be here in the moment. I need to keep him safe. Tell me which direction this world is going. I feel the shame for my lack of faith when you walk the ocean. Eve bit the apple. My faith is weak and my trust is broken. There's things that I can't keep him from. Like the loneliness you feel and the realizations of growing up. Like a best friend at his mother's bedside when she passes from the leukemia. Like a coach about to die asking you why he's got to leave his son. I hate the weakness of owning up to the sins of the past. I hate the weakness of giving up what I used to have. I hate the weakness of showing my son what makes me sad. He said a present father is worth way more than a perfect dad. I'm curious as to what makes Jon sad that it would seem like weakness to communicate that to his kid. Maybe this is a part of masculinity that I am not attuned to, but I've never believed that showing sadness or being sad implied weakness. I think more so that being afraid of your own feelings is its own weakness. I think if you are in tune with yourself and how you are feeling and why you feel that way, that will lead to a far greater strength than simply denying the feelings outright. For way too long, various dads of the past and present have equated stoicism and emotionlessness as strength, when that's simply not the case. Strength does not mean not feeling anything. It simply means being a present human being in the midst of feeling. Not discounting the feeling, but weighing it for what it is, both as a valid feeling and also as something that perhaps you feel in the moment that may pass. That's my little take as someone that has never had kids. And then it closes out with the little audio of who I assume is one of Jon's kids singing the classic little song, Jesus Loves Me, which I feel like is probably him creating this moment of like, I think my kids are all right. He hears his kids singing that Jesus loves them and internalizing that and using that as an encouraging moment. And while I have my own mixed feelings on faith, Christianity, as I've gone into many times on my channel, I think that's nice. I think if that's a moment of encouragement for Jon, you let him have that. And that is father figure. I mentioned earlier that I noticed that there weren't like a whole lot of like really big moments. I do think Modern Times definitely qualifies as a big moment, and I feel bad for having skipped it and then making that observation. But I do think on the whole, this is a much more intimate album, which I think makes sense considering a lot of the subject matter, and also the fact that Jon Bellion is maybe not wanting to take a whole lot of really big swings with his first post-hiatus album. So it makes sense that he's not necessarily fully swinging for the fences with this. But I do think this is a solid album. It's probably not my favorite. I think my favorite is probably still Human Condition. But Glory Sound Prep has definitely been growing on me lately. But this was a good album. It was a good album, I'm not crazy about it. It's not going to go in my like highest list of albums for the year, but it was a good time. I'll probably listen through it another full round. And maybe by the time I do my end of year list, maybe my feelings will have changed. But for now, it was a good time. I'm glad I listened to this. I'm glad I listen through the whole dang thing. I wish I had the constitution to listen to the whole thing all at once, but you know, things happen. And I'm glad that Jon Bellion may or may not be back in the game. He's a very, very creative and ambitious artist, and I'm looking forward to if he makes more of his own stuff. I'm looking forward to what he crafts up in his little studio in the future. So hopefully you enjoyed this video at long last. Of maybe you were waiting for this one to come out, or just waiting for the next video to come out. If you did like it, I'd love it if you click the like button. If you've got requests for other albums or other artists for me to check out, it's best to put those requests in these videos rather than my gameplay stuff, just so that I have it all in one place, you know? If you've put album requests and gameplay stuff or video game requests in these videos, that's okay. I just like to be organized. So if you have video game requests, I'm going to be making more video game content. Obviously, that's most of what this channel is. But for now, just let me know your album requests if you have any. If you have thoughts on this album, I would also like to read those in the comments. I don't respond to everything, but I do read pretty much every comment. Be kind. Be patient with me if I didn't understand something quite the way you did. We're all here to figure shit out, and art has often a multivalence of meaning. Other than that, if you haven't subscribed, or if you're new to the channel, welcome. Great to have you here. Would love to have you subscribe. I make gaming videos, I make stuff with my friends of various types. It's a good time. If you're enjoying the vibes, it's the same vibes all the way through, just maybe different activities. And if you want to support the channel in a monetary fashion, you can head over to my fourth wall, get merch, become a member, which has its own perks. You can also make a one-time donation if that's your speed. Anything and everything is hugely, hugely appreciated and acknowledged when it happens. So, yeah. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.